Calum, you've got what you set out for now. You've got your playoffs and you've got your home tie. It's perfect bank holiday weekend.
It is, yeah. When you're hitting like season-long targets, you can forget about the games because I didn't think it was a classic game. Don't think it'll be one that'll live overly long in the memory for either side. So for us, you reflective, 6 points over the bank holiday weekend is hard to come by, whether it's the Easter, the August, previously when the Christmas games are a bit tighter. It's hard to win both, and we have done. I'm really pleased with the outcome, to have sealed a fourth place finish. Could have been more if some stuff had gone our way. We'd have some targets on the last day of the season that now aren't achievable. But to have that home game on a Wednesday night, to be able to plan and sort of go in that direction is massive, and I think the players deserve massive credit for that.
You spoke this week about that 84-point mark and you've levelled it now. Do you almost want to exceed that, or is there a bigger picture?
Yes to both. There is a bigger picture. You saw that I thought today we were good. I thought we had control of the game in not a great contest, but I thought that changed when I've taken Nathan Woodthorpe off, because if he were to pick a second yellow card up, he'd be available to play at Kings Lynn and unavailable to play in a playoff game due to the nature of the 7 days, with it being Monday today and not a standard Saturday. And I thought that's when the game swung. So I can't be completely disingenuous with you here, can I, and go, no, it's the next game. There is clearly a bigger picture, because I was making decisions in the 70th minute today with that in mind. However, I just need to have a real think about it. We're in a good run. We've had 3 wins on the spin since we lost that big game at Scunthorpe, and now's the time to sort of say that out on the record of, I hinted at it to you on Friday. Of course, disappointed that we're not in Kidderminster and Brackley's position, and Scunthorpe to some extent. We just couldn't quite keep pace with them. Whether we were top with 10 games to go. How many different clubs have been top this season now? It's been a crazy division. For us to have got 84 points after the disappointment of last season, to have matched what we did here 2 years ago, is massive, and the reward being a home playoff game. This place is going to be rocking. You saw over 3,000 there, and they were brilliant, and the reception they give the players and that meant a lot of that at full time. So let's see where that takes us. So we'll enjoy this evening, a good bank holiday weekend, reflect on finishing fourth, and then there's some decisions combining that next game and that points tally and who needs what around our group, because there's some lads that will need topping up and players and so forth. But the bigger picture now is getting us right for that Wednesday night.
I want to touch on that disappointment now that you've said it. Is there almost any sort of regret? Because obviously when you lose them games and you drop points, there is that criticism that sort of swirls around the manager, and you are the focal point that are targeted at times. Do you have any sort of things you look back on and go, maybe I should have done that differently, or changed someone there, or maybe just how football works sometimes?
Do you know what? Regret's an interesting word that you try and avoid in management, but I regret every point we drop, and we have a process of analysis and reflection that we'll start with our stuff first. So whenever the team go out there, right, it's my responsibility. Whenever we go and we disappoint, you have to take overall responsibility as the manager. You have to. That's where we're at. I feel, reflecting on the season, if we're talking about our participation in the title race, we gave ourselves too much to do. That after the New Year's Day game, which was a terrible, terrible spectacle. That's twice I've said that about our games. Not great advert for them. After that game, we reflected on having 37 points from the opening half of the season. Well, that's on for a 74-point season. Looks like the title winners are going to win it with 92 points. So for us to get that, we would need 55 points in the second half of the season. And you know what? We ain't going to be a million miles away from that. If we were to win that game next week, that's 50 points in a half of the season. If we'd have done that all along, we'd have 100 points. That's crazy. And I take real positive from that. We just haven't been able to keep pace, and I can talk, and I try not to. I can talk about budgets. What do I reflect on? Probably a disappointing away record at the start of the season that has ended up being a good one. And probably not winning enough games against the sides in and around us, because of the teams in the top 8, we've pretty much got the fewest points from those contests. But it's fine margins, and I've talked to you about that, and I've talked to other people about that. But I'm not going to bemoan stuff that's been and gone. I'd rather reflect on what a group of players. I'm so proud of them, so blessed to work with them, and they've delivered a season that I think everyone would have took in July. And I choose to take the positive of, this is the longest we've been in that title race. It's the closest we've been. That's progress, and that's all you can do as a manager, is constantly try and progress. Last season we didn't. We took a backward step. But I hope that people see the reaction to that 12 months later is to sit in front of you and go, 84 points, a playoff place, a home playoff tie, and let's see where that takes us.
There's two parts to this question. When we spoke on Friday, the Southport game probably wasn't the best spectacle and wasn't a great game to watch, but you got through it, and it felt like this time around it was probably Jekyll and Hyde first half. You were very good, fluid in times, could have been even more than one, also could have been one conceded, but it felt a lot better, a lot sharper. But on the side note of that, do you feel like maybe it was almost deja vu when Marine get that first goal back and then Chris Doyle's volley goes agonisingly wide?
Maybe. I felt like the game ended when Nathan got booked because I changed what we were doing. So we'd arranged to take Tom Pearce off on the 60th minute. So we lose a mark and we lose a focal point. I thought he was unbelievable. And I think opposition managers always know that when they make a direct change with a player and go, I need to replace personnel as a result of somebody's performance or impact on that performance. And then when he comes off and then you're taking Nathan off and you're changing your markers, you're playing right wingers at left back because that bigger picture that you referenced. So I don't really pay loads of attention to anything that we did after that substitution because it's a different version of us. I love the way the players stuck at it and made sure we got a win. I said to you on Friday, their personality, like I say, I understand that frustration. I feel at times a bit hard done by though, around if ever we don't win, we're boring and it's negative and the manager's set up to get beat 1-0 and that's fine and that's football and I understand that. And you don't take a manager's job if you're not going to front criticism. I've always done that. At times, maybe that's to the detriment of some of the stuff this year. It was like a younger man, not as a manager, has been tough to understand. And there ain't a training course for that. I must admit, missed that bit of the module where you're going, who's this person that's got my phone number that I don't know. But I reflect on the season and go real positive. What we've got to change around now is, I talk about them bigger games and here and knockout games. We've got to get ready to deliver because talking about it means something. I'll say what we like. It's not worth anything. When I stand up there after a post-match interview, what I say isn't really relevant. Whether we win or lose, it doesn't get you any points. We're in a knockout competition now where you got the ultimate reward. I think we're better equipped for it than we've ever been. But like I say, talk's cheap and we've got to make sure we deliver on the pitch.
And just one more on the game. Who stood out for you today? Because there's a few times where I overheard you shouting over Taylor O'Kane's and not let him get muscled about so much after that. He seemed to come into his own and nearly scored. And then Connor Woods is probably, you can tell he's in form now. He looks confident. And then you've got Harrison Burke scoring. And whenever he scores, you're probably going to get fielded questions with his future. But some of these players are coming into their own at just the right time.
Look, you're right to pick out loads of individuals, and without ducking the question, it's not something I do, but you've picked out a lot of names. Whole host of pleasing performances. Pleased to see academy graduates on the score sheet. It's been a big part of what we've done over the last 3 years. Pleased to send the fans home happy. And I thought, the reception they gave the players after the game at Stay Behind, because that was all about us as a group saying thank you for. It's an expensive hobby, innit? Following a football club around the north of England, them real northern places like Needham Market, Kingsley and Oxford, Brackley, them trips up to the northeast. We feel it like they do. I said to you on Friday, I wear it when it ain't great, and it was just about showing a bit of appreciation. And I thought they showed theirs for the players, and that's all it is. And we want to deliver for them. We've got all our own. We all do it for our own reasons. The big thing that brings us all together here, what unites players, staff, people behind the scenes, supporters, is that desperation to do well, and we want to do well for them, and that it just felt like a real good way to bring the curtain down on the regular season at home, and it's been a really good one for us. But we want to deliver for them supporters. We owe them that, and I tell you now, the work starts as soon as I'm done talking to you.
And just finally, I can't not finish speaking about Neil Young. There's not many managers who can walk out the front door of an old or new club and get a reception like he has today at his old club. It just shows what a manager he is, and I think sometimes, especially parts of this season, he has been underrated and probably criticised over too heavy at times. What have you made of him? And you worked under him as well, so how did you find it?
Yeah, I know Neil very well, and look, it was important today. I thought the fans gave him a brilliant reception. Left Neil from my staff to his staff a bottle of wine, nice expensive one as well, so remember that next time we go to Marine. It's definitely his turn. The reception he got here represents what he did for this football club to bring it back to life. Invited Neil up with me. Part of the match day routine is to speak to the hospitality, the sponsors, and Neil came up with me and spoke so well around what the football club meant to him and memories, and I think he's done an unbelievable job at Marine. Do you know what? They're a proper football club, and do you know what I really respect about Marine is all their progress. I came up against it at Runcorn Linnets. We were 20 minutes away from sealing that promotion. But they've done it on the pitch. They've won on the pitch. Their prize money, their rewards, their growth of the football club is organic, the growth of the crowds, and they deserve massive respect. And I thought the following they brought here today was magnificent. And when there's so many football clubs that are people's playthings and that are financed for people's hobbies, to see a football club that have grown organically and done it properly, I personally, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of people at our club, have massive respect for that. But for Neil, it's going to be a change going upstairs. So much respect for him as a manager, and he knows what I think about him as a man. It was never going to be like that between 3 and 5 o'clock. We knew that. But he's someone that I've got a great deal of respect for, and I'm pleased today that he got the reception from, like you say, all sides of the ground. Respect what that man's done when representing both of their clubs.
I'm just conscious we're nearly 11 minutes now, but I just want to ask you about this director of football role. People scoffed at it, seeing someone in the National League North pick it, and you know Neil, and you know he's wanted to do that for a while. Where do you think that club can go now with Neil at the top?
I think the reason it might be scoffed at is what people perceive a director of football. So football is changing. What is the manager? What is the head coach? And it doesn't matter whether it's the Premier League or this level. What are the responsibilities and the remit? Recruitment is the single most important detail in a football club, and there's clubs at our level that live and die by their recruitment. You look at, I would imagine, if you were to interview the teams in the bottom 6, they would reflect on their recruitment differently than the teams at the top 6. Having someone that might lead on that, and whatever Neil's right, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but there has to be a strategy and joined up thinking that connects every aspect of a football club together. It isn't about, I said to you on Friday, you don't roll up on a Saturday and go, let's have a go at this game. But someone that can put things in place that give you real longevity and have a way of doing things, that's vital. And you can call it what you want. You can call it a director of football, you can call it football operations, whatever titles, because we're obsessed by titles in 2025, aren't we? You're a one-man band that's head of media, head of videography and head of journalism. We can all call each other whatever we want, but fundamentally having someone with that much experience that will join all the dots above a football club, the end product is what happens on the pitch. And I think there won't be many clubs with somebody better equipped for that than Neil Young.